This is DrumWise Meets. Today, we're with a drummer who's played with the likes of Average White Band, Tom Petty, the Bee Gees, Eric Clapton, just to name a few. Steve Ferrone.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you again.
So I hear that you've got quite a collection of drums. Could you just talk us through what equipment you use?
All right, well, there's some of them.
Some of them.
The 1950 Gretsch Broadcaster.
Oh, wow. Oh, and you're all set to just, do you rehearse, like practice in there, or is it just for recording, or?
No, I record.
Yeah.
Insert to record.
All right. Oh, cool.
I do my radio show here. My
Oh.
radio show, Mike. I rehearse. I can rehearse in here. I rehearse bands, rehearse in here and stuff. And I got that. I think I've had that about maybe 10 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same age as I am.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
But it's in a bit better. It's in a bit better condition. I have a 1950 Gretsch Broadcaster in my studio, which I showed you before, and I have a reissued Gretsch Broadcaster that I've been playing a lot around town, and I have one of what they call a Gretsch micro kit, which is I used to play in jazz because they let me play jazz now. I guess now I got older, they finally got around and let me do that. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, I got a number of different snare drums that I use. I guess my weapon of choice right at the moment is a Gretsch snare drum. As a model, one of my models is the brass shell snare drum's kind of a bit of a copy of a Black Beauty. As I'm apt to do with my snare drums, and that I'm really enjoying playing that. That's been a lot of fun. But recording wise, I did a lot of different things I used.
What bands did you kind of grow up listening to, and what inspired your drumming initially?
Well, I mean, I grew up listening. Beatles were probably one of the first bands that were around, and there was I sort of came up. I was tap dancing. I was a tap dancer when I was a little kid, and so I was sort of brought up listening to standards. Begin to Begin, Black Magic, the old Black Magic stuff, all that sort of stuff that you tap dance to. But when I started to the first time that I heard. I guess it would be called gospel music. It was a close harmony group called the Deep River Boys, and they used to have a radio show on Radio Luxembourg, and they came to Brighton, and they went into the Hippodrome of Brighton when it was a theatre, and my parents took me down to see this band. It's the first time that I'd ever seen anybody that was black, and I heard this music, and it just I don't know, it just touched me completely, and I got to meet them, and every time they came to town, we'd go down and see them. It was just wonderful, and I loved that music. And then, as I was growing up, going into my teenage years, the Beatles came along, and I loved the Beatles. And before that was like Cliff Richard. Cliff Richard was around, and Elvis Presley, of course. So there was a lot of different music that I used to listen to, and my taste has always been very eclectic. So
Excellent.
I'd say I played when I used to play in Uncle Bonnie's Chinese Jazz Club, down there in Brighton in the aquarium. There used to be this club, and I used to go down there and play, and the Who used to come down and play, and a lot of bands. It was the whole Liverpool Merseyside thing was going on at that point, and I'd started playing in a local band, and we used to open for these guys. So I used to see a lot of different bands, Searchers and during the Pacemakers. All those guys used to come down and play.
Oh wow! And you say that was in the aquariums in down.
In it, right? That tiny when you go, and now you go in there and you pay there, and when you're in there to your right, as you walk in there, there's a stage, and that was a stage, and the Who used to play there.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it wasn't an aquarium at all. It was just like a.
It was a little club, and you walk. It was sort of the actual entrance was as you went down the steps. You turned to the left, and go underneath the stone bit there, and you walk down, and you walk past the club, and go into the aquarium. Now the club is the actual entrance to the aquarium. That's where you buy tickets and stuff.
Wow!
But it's tiny. I mean, it seemed a lot bigger when I was little, but it was tiny little room,
Cool.
It's to be packed. It's packed for the Who, just jam packed in there.
Hard one, I think here. Do you have an all-time favourite drummer?
My favourite drummer, yes, is Jack DeJohnette. Yeah, I discovered him. I was introduced to him. I didn't discover him. I was introduced to him by a French keyboard player, a guy named Henri Giordano. I'm always forever in his debt for introducing me to the Live in Russia album, Charles Lloyd's Live in Russia album with Ron McClure was playing bass, and Keith Jarrett on keyboards, and Jack DeJohnette. And it was so impressive because it was. I wasn't a big fan of free jazz. I mean, I loved Art Blakey and Max Roach and everything, and I even loved the stuff when they went a little bit out. I like that, but this free jazz phenomenon started. And, I went and saw Sun Ra. Didn't say too much to me. I saw. I just it just didn't seem like anybody was like listening to each other, And then I got introduced to that album, and there was this amazing freedom, but it was a freedom of playing where they were totally listening to each other, where they were really everybody seemed really aware what the next person was doing, but could play anything that they wanted off of that, and that for me was a freedom that was astonishing. And I met Jack and talked to him about that, and he has a very interesting story. If you ever get a chance to interview him about how that album was done, because it was at the height of the Cold War, and they were playing in Russia, and it had something to do with like a cultural exchange, But every 5 minutes, Russia was fighting with America about something, So they'd start to walk on the stage, and then they get stopped, and they say no, and they'd have to go back whilst a minor crisis was being sorted out, about why a bomber was flying a certain way, or and and then they say, okay, you can go on. They start to walk to the stage, and then they got stopped again, and it's like they had to go back to the dressing room, and they'd sit there and they'd say, okay, and finally they figured it out, and as soon as they said, okay, you can go, they ran on stage and started playing, and there was this amazing energy in this concert, and though I don't profess to play anything like Jack DeJohnette, or even in the style, I don't even play jazz like Jack DeJohnette can play jazz. I learned how to listen. His mode of listening, his way of making something important. He could draw your attention to something that somebody played. He sat in the middle of that band and could sort of point you at something that somebody was doing, or left so much space. Just a wonderful, wonderful drummer. I mean, for me, Alvin Jones is God, for sure. But sure enough, Son of God is Jack DeJohnette for me. And if anybody resembles Jesus Christ in this thing, it's Jack DeJohnette, and just an amazing fellow, and amazing gentleman too. Really, really wonderful to get to meet. I got to play with oh God, what's his name? His name now? Oh Jesus! Well, I'd have to look it up for you.
Mm.
He's a really good bass player, and his dad used to play with Coltrane, you know, and Garrison, Garrison. What's his first name? I forget his name now. Jimmy Garrison was his dad. And when I met him, he introduced himself, and I said, "Oh, any relation?" And he said, "Well, yeah, Jimmy Garrison was my father." Like, wow, that's cool. That's cool. And we got to talking, and I said to him, "You got your dad's bass, you know?" And he said, "Actually, I do." Wow, that's really cool. He said, "Yeah." He said it was lost for a while, but my godfather helped me to find it. You know, I said, "Who's your godfather?" Jack DeJohnette.
Oh, right.
So, we were playing. We were doing this. It was one of those gigs where I got flown over to play this gig. It was like a drummer dropped out, or I got fired, or dropped out. I don't know what had happened. And it was like I had like the flight over there to make notes and get the show together. And we had a rehearsal, went around to all the songs, so, beginnings and endings and everything, and went off to Naples and got into do this show. And in the show, he had to do a bass. There was this bass solo in this song, and it was funny because I talked to him about Jack like I just talked to you. I said, I don't play anything like he does. And it comes up to this drum solo, so I just think, no, I'm gonna give him a little something just to goose him into the solo. So I just played a little something and kicked him off into his solo. And after the show, he said to me, "What the hell was that you played at the beginning of my solo?" He said it was great. It just pushed me straight into just jettison me into the solo. And I said, "That's what I learned from you. That's what I learned from your godfather."
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So it's So if I have to say that I have a favorite drummer? I mean, there's lots of great drummers out there. So that it's kind of like, you can't. I mean, you can't just sort of dismiss like Art Blakey. You can't dismiss Sam Woodyard. You can't. You just. You can't dismiss Steve Gadd. You can't you can't dismiss Vinny, James Gadsden.
Yeah, totally.
You just you can't Purdy.
Yeah.
I mean, Purdy's been a huge influence in my life too. And but when you look at somebody that I feel that's really special, Jack's a man for me. Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, it's very hard to just pick like one. I mean, I couldn't pick one. It's there's so many influences, aren't there, on the way someone plays.
Well, he's so musical. He's just so musical. I mean, he plays. I mean, I bought this album of his once called, I think it was called the Dejohnette Experience, where he's playing melodica.
Oh.
And he had Roy Haynes was playing drums on the album for him. So and it's it's more than just sitting there and banging the drums. It's more than just sitting there. It's musical. There's a certain quality to that defines, I think, a master musician, a master drummer is somebody who can actually. I'm not really impressed. I don't get really impressed with drum solos with guys that can do tricks. I'm not impressed with parlor tricks. But when somebody sits down and they play a song and it's like, wow, that felt great. That's what gets me. That's what
I think you saying that kind of makes me just slightly change direction here, because I think a lot of the kids that I teach are very much hung up on what they look like, and oh, I can juggle my sticks while I'm playing, and oh, these massive like gospel chops and all, and that they forget that really the most important thing is how you sound, like groove, and just and like playing from your heart. And that's why when I said to you earlier about when I came to see you with the 360 band, and just the groove that you just like emitted was just like magical. And I think that's the thing, like groove is so important over all these.
It's, I think the easiest way that I explain it to people is like, let's go on YouTube and have a look at these guys that play all this stuff, right? Go on YouTube and have a look at it, and then look who's in the audience. It's guys. It's guys. All guys, right? And then go look at the Beatles, some old footage of the Beatles. Go look at the Rolling Stones. Go look at Tom Petty.
Yeah.
There's guys. There's a lot more chicks. So if you want to have a bunch of guys there looking up to you and saying, wow, that's really clever. Or if you want to have some, really great looking girls there sitting there dancing in front of you, I find that a bit more inspirational than a bunch of guys going, wow, that's really difficult, man.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
And on that note, talking about Tom Petty and things like that, what would you say is your favourite project or artist that you've ever worked on or worked with?
Well, I've been very fortunate in that. I'd say that there's probably 4 or 5 people that I've really enjoyed working with. That I've been in the band. Average White Band was really special. Playing with Chaka was really special. Eric Clapton's band was a phenomenal band, just a great band. And Duran was a great band. It was a greater. I think that even I gave them credit for in the beginning. When I listened to the albums that we did some really good work, some really solid work. Really good playing. But I think everybody should have an experience like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Because that band, when I started playing that with them, it really wasn't in my area of playing. We moved in different circles. I think I didn't really know any of those guys, and I came to find out over the years in playing with them that Tom and Mike were sitting in Gainesville, Florida, listening to the same stuff that I was listening to in Brighton. We're the same age. All 3 of us were born in 1950. It's not like we socialize a lot. I mean, I think yesterday I just shot a text to Mike Campbell and said, "Hey man, how you doing? Fine. One word answer." And and then we sent a few jokes to each other, and they're just checking in on you, and that was it. But I know in my heart that I have a love for that man, and he has a love for me, and that love has all come through music. Benmont Tench too. Tom put a band together. It's kind of like family, I guess. And I'd say it's more than just being in a band with them. It's family. And it's like, you don't see family for ages, but when you see them, they're family. And sometimes you don't talk to family for the longest time. Then you'll get together and you're really happy to see each other. Nobody seems to take any offense if you don't see them, if you're not that connected. I have that. I think I've had that relationship with individuals in this business. I have that sort of relationship with Nathan East, his family for me, and Greg Fillinganes, Hamish Stewart, his family, Molly Duncan, his family. But to have that in a band was really something. I mean, it was kind of like, we'd come off the road, we wouldn't see each other for a while. Tom would go into hibernation for a couple of months, and we would wander around in his robe for a couple of months in his house when he'd go out. After, never doing that again. And then it would take him about 2-3 months before he'd pick up a guitar and start strumming it and write a song, and it'd be the beginning of that process again. Mm. And then he'd call us in, and we'd all go in and sit in there, and all been off doing whatever we were doing, and it wouldn't take. We'd just play a couple of blueses just to get warmed up, and all of a sudden there it was. It was the Heartbreakers. It was really, really special, really special band, and so there's one thing I wish for everybody is that they have a relationship with a band like that. It was just a really wonderful experience, great experience. It was so much fun every night, so much fun. Just the music, just that was it.
And that's what it's all about, the music.
Yeah, absolutely.
What makes a good drummer who plays for multiple artists?
I would say that listening, figuring out what they want, and then giving it to them with you in it, with you involved. That's humility. It's humility. I ran into guys that said, "Well, I'm going to play with this band. I'm going to show them this and show them that." And like, you serious? They were doing pretty good before you started playing with them.
Chaka Khan.
Yeah.
Ain't Nobody, for example.
Yeah. John Robinson. Well, a great job he did on that, isn't he? He's a monster. That guy's a monster.
Yeah, I mean that groove. I mean,
yeah,
it's just an incredible groove.
Yeah.
I'm not sure with your foot technique anyway for the bass drum, but with that, do you do that as a hit? Like, was that a heel up, heel down thing? Because I've noticed he's very much heel down on that.
Yeah, song. I'm a kind of heel up all the time. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing. When I played it with Chaka, that isn't the beat that she wanted.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Ah. She had me play it. I can show you. Want me to show you? I'll play it for you if you want.
Oh, yeah.
How's that sound?
That's fine. That's cool. Yeah.
Okay. So she had me play.
Right. So no 16th note hats in sight.
That's what she wanted. Second, boom,
Yeah.
boom, second, boom. And
Right.
so that's what I did.
Amazing. Cool. that's just. I was just interested because that's one of those kind of grooves that so many people struggle with, me included, to be honest. Because all the patterns on the original, they're so just like dum cat dum cat dum dum. You know, so many bass drums dum that rhythm.
Well, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Try that one. It worked pretty good.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, if it worked for her,
you see, that's the funny thing. This is the funny thing is that I said this before. When I listen to a song, I never listen to the drum part. I listen to the song, and so I try and make it. I don't even know what I play. I don't even know if I played JR's part. I just started to play the song.
Right.
And Chaka said, no. I want that shaka boom, shaka boom. sagum gugum, and I started to play that.
That's
So
interesting. Yeah.
so you know, the thing is this is that, you know, you might not. I mean, this is there's a number of times that I've gone into stuff and I just started playing it. And one of the things when I joined Average White Band, they were doing If I Ever Lose This Heaven, you know, and most of the people that have played it, they tried recording it before. Most of the people that have played it like the Quincy Jones version, which is very, very sparse drum part, you know. And they just went and did that, and I just knew the song. I didn't know what the drum part was, so I just went in and played it like Average White Band played it, like it came out, you know. And I remember when we just sat in and played it, I remember Roger Ball looking at me and throwing me a kiss, you know, yeah, mwah, perfect, because it wasn't the same as but it was valid, you know, and it was something that was valid. If somebody wants something that's the same, okay. The other example. So you think you're gonna take her away with your money and you listen to your heart, right? I started playing that with just sort of straight up and down beat, and Howie Epstein, the bass player, said no, it's 4 on the floor, and it just didn't seem, when I didn't know the song, wasn't familiar with it, right? But it didn't seem like that beat fit it somehow, but then it kind of did, you know. So then I just kept playing it that way, and that was the way that it was originally played. You know, Stan Lynch played it the original way. That was how he played it. But naturally, I just played the song like I felt that it was. Sometimes I've done that, and people said, "Wow, you should have cut it that way," you know.
Yeah.
And then it just and that's what it becomes. It becomes a different kind of an animal, you know. So it's called playing the drums, not playing what somebody else plays. Is, you know, your personality can go into that as well. The thing is not to take offense if somebody says no, that's not right.
Yeah. That's really great, because you managed to shoehorn in a question, which was, when you first get a gig with a new artist or whatever, how do you work out what you're going to play? And you've just totally answered that by saying you listen to the song.
Listen to the song, yeah. And you know, like I said, I really do think that a lot of it is, you know, you have an interpretation of it. Doesn't mean that it's not valid, but it isn't. Maybe it's not what they want, you know. So then you find out what they want, and then you give it to them, and then once you're into what they want, then you can throw some you in there, you know. You know, look, I had people when I went and worked with Michael Jackson and we did Earth Song. We were sitting there and we got a really great. Bill Bottrell was the engineer producer on that track, and we just got a great drum sound, and it was really, you know, we had all cylinders were firing on the drum sound in the room that day, and Michael came in and played the song for me and said, okay, I want to use electronic drums on this, right? And my question to him at that time was, why would you want to use electronic drums on something that's called Earth Song?
Yeah.
You know? And he said, well, you know, that's just what I want, you know. And I said, well, okay, I'll do it for you, but I want one pass with that over there. Right, I said, I'll do it. I'll do the whole thing, but I want one pass with that drum kit with the drums. And he said, okay, and he split. You know, so we went out, we worked out the song, worked out the parts, how the thing moved, what I was going to do, what I was going to played it all down. Then there was all the issues of double trigger, and we didn't have nice pads like you got there. We had like countertop. It was like 4 mica countertop. Used to hurt your wrist all the way up to your elbow when you hit it. You know?
I bet.
Yeah. And so we sort of double triggering, took out the double triggering things and did all that stuff. Called him up, came in, and he listened to it, and he sat there in the studio and he listened to it and he said, yeah, that's fine. I said, okay, I'm going to do the real drums now. And he said, no, it's not necessary. And I said, you know, we had a deal. Right? the deal was that I played that, but I was going to do one pass on that. It ain't going to take me but 5 minutes. He said, okay. And he left. I went up, one pass. I had it because I knew what the song was, right? But then I knew what the song was. Sat down, drum kit, big, massive drum sound. Call him up, waited about 20 minutes for him to show up again. He shows up in the studio and he sits there and he sits there and he listens to big long before the drums come in. As soon as those drums kicked in, those speakers kicked the air off of that, off of it. Not like the electronic drum; they just sort of sit there. But the air came off of those speakers, hit him in the face. That guy was up and dancing all around the studio, and I said, "Now you got an Earth song."
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So, and people say to me, "You turned around and told Michael Jackson," and I said, "Well, that's what he hired me for. He didn't hire me just to sit there and be him playing the drums. He hired me to put something into this dang thing. So, faint heart would never won fair lady. There's no harm in giving it a shot. If they tell you that's not it, it could have been just as easy. You turn around and said, no, I like the electronic drums better. Right? And then swallow it. You've done your thing. You tried to help, and that's it. But
you got it. So it was one take, that song on the acoustic kit. Wow.
That's it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And I mean, what an epic track to have played on. It's just amazing.
Yeah. If I'd have known it was going to be that epic, I would have paid more attention to it.
When you were there for that session, was it? Because I mean, excuse my ignorance here. I don't know. Was it just that song? Did you do more stuff?
I think I did 2 songs. I forget what the other one was.
Oh, right.
But that one, I remember that one. That was I think I did a couple of songs that day.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Maybe 3. I'm not sure.
And talking about recording actually leads me to my next question. How has recording for you changed over the years?
I got a call a couple of weeks ago, over a month ago now. Decent, more than a couple of weeks. I got a call from a friend of mine who works with Lucinda Williams, and he called me. Said, "Yeah, listen, we got a session on Sunday. You want to come down there and we're recording in the Capitol?" I know that when I go into Capitol Records, there's going to be someone else there. Right? I know if I set foot in there that I'm going to go play, they're not just going to have me playing, because if they're going to do that, they come here. Yeah, it's very rarely. Well, I would say it's not that it hasn't happened, but most times when you go into that sort of scenario, you get to actually sit down and play with musicians. That used to be the norm. It was always you were in there playing with other people. You get there, work out the track, figure out what what your part was, and then just hammer at it until you got the take that was right. And that was the way that was done. And then Arif Mardin called me up and said, "All right, we're at Power Station. Come down to Power Station. We've got a session down there for you, Power Station." I walked in there and it was Screedy Politi. And there was nobody else. There was just me, and there was me. I had every fader except for one on the board in Power Station, and that one was assigned to a drum machine. And they had microphones that were going through harmonizers, and they tuned down half the room. And they were triggering Simmons for the tom-toms and the bass drum and stuff, and it was just this massive. Jason Casaro was the engineer. Just this massive drum sound, and I sat there and I had a chart, and there was this one little break where the drum machine kicked in, and I just had to play until I got to that and stop and then start up again. And I sat there and I played it, and Arif came in and he said, "You're not hitting the drums hard enough." I'm not getting you. I'm just not. You got to hit the drums hard. Yeah, because when you play with other musicians, you're always sort of climbing up above the other musicians, so that you can hear yourself and make a balance for yourself and playing in this band. There was nothing except the click track. That was it. And I said to Arif, I said, well, Dad, what do you want me to have? What do you want me to do? How can I do that? And Arif, in all his wisdom with his producer tricks, said to me, why don't you imagine Clive Davis's face on the drums? And I wasn't particularly enamored with Clive Davis at that time, because he was kind of in the midst of breaking up Average White Band, giving us some really shitty songs to play. And so I did. I imagined Clive Davis's face on them drums, and that stuff came out pretty good.
And you hit them really hard.
But that went from, so it went from like always being in the studio with musicians to like showing up a lot on my own, to because sometimes they'd have drum machine that they use, but they want it to feel better, so you'd have to overdub a hi-hat and some crash cymbals, maybe some tom fills and stuff, and so it moved into that, and then it kind of went back a little bit because I started to play more with rock bands and then with R&B bands, and so it went back again to just playing, Roger Lynn came out with his drum machine, and that was it. He had at the NAMM show, he had like these buttons, like a no smoking button, with a cigarette he had a drum kit with a line to it, no drum kit, and he handed them out at the NAMM show, and me and Vinny Caludo went looking for him because we were going to make him eat a couple of dozen of them. Boy, and so so there was that, but then what happened in the middle of all that stuff, when everybody was sort of like in this place of fear that the drums were going to go out the window, it wasn't going to be working anymore. Here comes Phil Collins, Easy Lover, and just didn't care, and I'm like, wow, yeah, okay, I like that. Phil just showed him, basically just, screw you, I'm going to play my drums no matter what, and come up with some other stuff, and he did. And I'll always be indebted to Phil Collins because of that. That was he's always been, with the stuff that he has going on with him now, health-wise and everything. He's still an inspiration. He's an inspirational guy. Really, just a great guy, man.
What an incredible drummer.
So, yeah, great drummer, just incredible. I mean, and so we've gone through all that stuff, and now we're down to mostly this, and even when I record here in my studio, when people send me stuff and I say, listen, you got a bass player on there, so because it's really nice to have a bass player to come and plug in and play with, because it just gives a certain feel to it. There's just nothing like, for me, there's nothing like musicians playing live and capturing that moment, and we last Tom Petty's birthday party last year, we Ron Blair put together a bunch of musicians, and we played Tom Petty songs at the El Rey Theatre, and as you can see that on YouTube now. They started the YouTube channel for that, and I got a song that they give me permission to play a song on my radio show, and I was listening to it, and it's Chris Stills and Hattie Webb doing the vocals, singing "Stop Dragging My Life Around," and it's just the take, I know you put two Heartbreakers in any band and it starts to sound like the Heartbreakers, especially you got the bottom end of the rhythm section. But everybody played really, really well. It's really, really. I just listened to it, and it was such a pleasure to listen to musicians just making music, not tied to any click track, not tied to any program, just really great playing. And I believe mainly, I really do believe with all the stuff that we've been, we were talking about with this where we are at the moment with the virus and everything. The music and musicians will come through this just fine. We'll find a way. We always have done. Because in my career, in my short career, there's been changes. Before that, there was changes, and before that, there was changes. So, from the great orchestras of the 1800s and all the way through until now, there's been a lot of changes.
And what do people want right now? They want music. They want,
they want to feel something.
Yeah,
they want to feel something. If they either want to feel something that expresses how they're feeling, or they want to feel something that makes them forget about how they're feeling, and that's what music does. It satisfies the soul, and the soul is so much more important than the physical properties.
My curveball question for you here. Are you ready for this? Drum roll. What's your favourite biscuit?
McVitie's. Yeah, the digestive.
Digestive, okay.
I got 5 packs of them in there right now.
Oh, you're fine then. Lock yourself in the house. You've got the biscuits.
cup of tea and a couple of McVitie's biscuits. I mean, I like the chocolate digestives, but I'm trying to watch my health a little bit. So I just go straight to the regular digestive, and that's just as good for me. A cup of tea, and a digestive biscuit is just.
But when you say a tea and a digestive, do the two things meet? Are you a dunker?
Of course. How else would they? Yeah. What are you, communist or something? Who do you know that doesn't do that? You got to do that stuff. Yeah. Brilliant. Digestive biscuits are really good.
Digestive, cool.
But it's just lately. I was deprived. I've been deprived of a lot of things here in the United States that I miss from back home in England. And one of the things that I really love is whole nut, Cadbury's whole nut.
Can you not get it?
Well, you could get it in. There's a few English shops around, English stores, like next to the English pubs. They have an English store. You can go in and buy some stuff. And they used to have it in there. And then Hershey's, who make shit chocolate, decided that they were going to ban Cadbury's chocolate coming from England.
Really?
Yeah, because it made their chocolate look like such shit that they were frightened that everybody was just going to rush off and start importing the chocolate. So they have the rights to Cadbury's chocolate here. And their Cadbury's chocolate here, I don't even think it has any milk in it. It's horrible. It's just horrible. So they found a bit of a way around it, which is like, I think they get it from India, but it's still not quite the same as the ones that you buy at London Airport. So I'm down to my last bar now. They used to sell the great big massive bars, great big bars of it, for £5 for 3 of them. No, £10 for 3. £10 for 3. £10 for 3 of them. So I used to load up maybe 20, 30 quid's worth, and in my backpack, and I come back and I shove it in the freezer, and then I have there's my girlfriend, and I got 9 grandchildren, so I'd have to sort of defend it against them. And I got this one friend of mine who's been a friend of mine for 40 years from South Africa, who I have to stand guard in front of my refrigerator because he's after my chocolate all the time, and he's crazy. I'm pretty good with it. I'll have a couple of like one row, 4 pieces. I'll have that, or sometimes I'll have 2 pieces and then put it back in the refrigerator and leave it. But him, if you give him the chocolate, he'll eat like 3/4 of that bar in a heartbeat. So he keeps bringing me this, this other stuff that's kind of like Cadburys, but mainly fruit and nut that he brings me. But it's, there's nothing like whole nut chocolate. I love whole nut chocolate. I love digestive biscuits. And what else is there? Oh, a Sunday roast, pork pies. You can get pork pies, you can get them here. There's all this stuff. PG tips. I got like thousands of PG tips in my house. I went out and bought supplies. Just to, everybody else is running out and buying toilet paper. I have made a beeline straight for the Friar Tuck shop over there, and grabbed like a big box of PG tips. And you know why I didn't make a rush for toilet paper? This is it.
Why is that?
I'm an international musician. I've been to Japan. I have a Japanese toilet. I don't even need any toilet paper. I can be completely hands-free with my toilet. I go sit there, do my stuff. My toilet washes my butt and dries it, and I just stand up and leave. I don't even have to wash my hands after I've been in the toilet. How's about that? I could go to the toilet and I could cook and not give any germs to anybody. How's about that?
You can go to the toilet and eat a fruit and nut.
Well, I guess I'll be like it's not that I don't wash my hands. I do wash my hands. It's my mother raised me right, but I don't really need to with the Japanese toilet.
Does your Japanese toilet sing to you as well?
No, it doesn't do that.
Doesn't do that one. No.
No, they do have them that do that.
Yeah, I remember.
Mine was about $800.
Whoa.
Mine was about $800. You can get them for $200.
Yeah.
But the $800 one had some extras. The heated seat was really good.
It's got to be done.
Oh. And it has like a massager. It massages. If you're having any difficulty getting stuff out, when you get to my age, sometimes you have some difficulty like unloading. This thing goes boop, 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 boop. You'll go in a flash. It just, it like water blasts it out of there. And you thought you were going to get away with just an boring interview about drums.
This is brilliant, Steve, because there's going to be an outtake video as well. This is just gold. My next question was, my next question is, what are your hobbies outside of drumming? And I know one of them is going and sitting on your Japanese toilet now.
Yeah, that's my hobby is a life-saving procedure. My hobby is I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I involve myself in recovery in any way that I possibly can, because it's a nightmare. Once you get addicted to something, it's a nightmare. I had a nightmare getting out of it myself. So the best thing I can do is to help other people to do that, and in turn help myself. So that's I do a lot of that. I like swimming. I really enjoy swimming for fitness, but the pools are all closed now, so I bought myself a Peloton, and I started riding the bike again. So I do that. I used to go boxing. I got my wildcard boxing club, and I've had some difficulty doing that because of my knee. My knee is fine for playing, but it doesn't like that I put weight on it, and so when I stand up, it hurts. So I like going to boxing matches. I like seeing boxing matches. I like that. But this is fun. My girlfriend keeps me busy too. She's like 17 years younger than me, so.
Nice.
You know how that can be.
Well, going back to what you said earlier about juggling sticks, groove.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Girls. That's right. Get a girlfriend. Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll probably get a girlfriend. You'll probably get a girlfriend too. But if you're playing drum solos, you'll probably get a girlfriend, because drummers attract girls. There's no doubt about that. But the abundance of girls that come with playing with a hit record band. And I don't know too many hit records that have drum solos on them. Do you?
No, quite.
Let there be drums, and that was kind of like,
Yeah.
or Wipeout. That was really sort of like, yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Peggy Sue was probably the closest thing to any sort of technical prowess on a song, and that was a pretty good song, Buddy Holly.
Dance with the Devil. That's another one, isn't it? Old.
What? Who was that?
Cozy Powell.
Ah, Cozy. I love Cozy. Wasn't Cozy great? Yeah, yeah. Cozy was just a great guy. I love Cozy, man. Jesus. Yeah. Well, there you go.
What's your best bit of advice for up and coming drummers?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't have any experience. You know, people told me, "Oh, it's not a real job. You can't do that." You know? And you might find it difficult at times too. You might find times of difficulty, but they just make you a better drummer. Just stay there, keep playing. You know, if you don't play for money, play for fun. That's it. Don't stop. Don't give up. It's a wonderful instrument. It's just an incredible instrument to be able to play. It's so liberating. You know, it's just you know, when you finish playing, it's like sometimes when you do a record and you finish it and you do it in one take or something, they say, "Oh, that's it." It's like, you can play it again.
Yeah, I want to do more.
Yeah. But yeah, don't give up. Don't keep going. There's a lot of fun in there. Just enjoy yourself. It's really fun.
So, Steve, thank you so much for joining us here at DrumWise for DrumWise Meets. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and all the best.
Hope we do it again sometime.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye.